I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Yourself.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Out of here. I've got to get out of here.
A true classic. But
Is that
English is
something?
better than that.
I love that one.
All right, y'all. This is the Larry and Charlie Show. I'm Charlie. This is Larry. And here we go.
It's interesting. I've been watching the Trump deranged syndrome, and it just amazes me how it doesn't matter what anybody does, whether it's Trump or his administration, how they spin it and they twist it and they do everything, and they expect the public to say, "Yeah, you're right." Well, if I'm going to say, "Yeah, you're right," you got to make sense, and they don't make any sense.
Or ever be right. That would be.
That would be an interesting phenomenon. But I've heard everything that I can imagine. As a matter of fact, when I was trying to organize what we're going to talk about tonight, Charlie, I was overwhelmed with, I had notes, I listen to radio and I watch TV, I take notes. I was overwhelmed with notes. I said that we can't possibly do this show because nobody watches it at 30 minutes. I said, nobody's going to watch it at 6 hours. Okay, because that's how much there is to cover. And I just want to give you an example of what true Trump derangement syndrome looks like.
Watch this crazy shit.
If you voted for Trump, raise your hand. Now use it to slap yourself because you're a dumbass.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. That's it.
What a freaking intellect.
Why do these people put this shit on social media thinking that it's relevant or they're important?
Because all of their idiot friends in their little bubble they live in agree with them.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, that has to be but it's amazing the stuff that gets put up there. We'll give you some examples of some of it tonight, but it's just amazing how ignorant people are because they don't know the facts. And without facts, it's kind of hard to make an argument.
Just spewing shit out of your mouth.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. And the Democrats and the state-run media, right? They're looking for anything and everything to try to destroy Trump in his progress.
Absolutely.
I mean, who remembers our last show where we talked about the signal thing, where the communications?
Yeah.
That was a major tragedy. Okay, that was the fall of democracy.
That was a conversation on a platform that might not be that great to talk on, that didn't have any effect for anything.
Exactly. So now, okay, I don't hear a thing about signal.
That's kind of like when you're worried about a 3-hour riot at the Capitol where the police walk people around and show them around the Capitol, and nobody gets killed other than people that the Capitol Police shoot. And then, like, you're not worried about months of rioting and burning down cities and overthrowing police stations and raping and murdering. And
that shit's irrelevant.
Well, no, because it's mostly peaceful.
Yeah, it's
Most of
mostly
the time.
peaceful. Yeah, it's true. So, anyways, what I'm just saying is that I've come up with one of the rules of life. Okay, if you want to be happy, rule number one for happiness is that no matter what the Democrats or the mainstream media tell you as you're sitting in your living room watching television, no matter what they say, the opposite is true.
And usually, whatever they say that Trump or the Republicans are doing, they're actually doing.
That's true.
It's a crazy Freudian thing.
Right. So we like to come with receipts here. So I want you to watch this clip from Chucky Schumer and everything that he says, and tell me how many of them are really accurate and relevant.
Go and fact check it yourself. Fuck the Penguins.
You know, there are smart ways to use tariffs and there are dumb ways to use tariffs. Donald Trump is using tariffs in the dumbest way possible. In fact, Trump slapped tariffs on penguins, but not on Putin. Yep, that's true. He sanctioned the Heard and McDonald Islands, only inhabited by penguins, but he left Putin's evil Russia alone. That's what happens when you have no clue to what you're doing. You fire air traffic controllers and dismantle disease outbreak monitoring, sabotage Social Security and VA and censor climate data, defund public schools, and now declare a trade war on penguins. We could be going into the greatest trade war in history. We all know that the Great Depression was caused by a trade war like this when Herbert Hoover slapped on these tariffs and the whole world responded. And the Great Depression, which had started, was greatly worsened. Donald Trump seems to have he doesn't even know history. He hasn't learned history. But we could be on the edge of the greatest trade war the world has ever seen. And who will pay the price? The average American family.
Bullshit.
Do you believe that?
That was all bullshit.
Do you believe that? Everything he said was false. But he says it, and everybody believes it. So the media is going to put it on. They're going to do their talking heads. Everybody's going to believe it. But it's unbelievably untrue.
They never do any retractions. You know,
Never.
It's never. Oh well, this was. You're right. This was utter bullshit. No. Because that's the narrative they're pushing. They're pushing this narrative. They're constantly trying to shove this narrative down your throat, and they're not worried about lying about it. They will just lie about it. Now, Trump, he may exaggerate things sometimes. Numbers, shit like that.
Yeah,
sometimes he'll say they make 10 million cars in Japan and only 5 in America. Well, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But
you get the point.
It's not a bold. It's an exaggeration. It's not a bold-faced lie. This guy is a bold-faced liar. That's why he wears his glasses way down here like that when he's talking to you, because he can't even believe his own bullshit. He's trying to read his notes and remember what he's lying about.
Okay, we're going to need a little break here. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch things up, and we're going to go to your favorite segment, Father Knows Best.
I don't think that's anybody's favorite.
It's fair for the taxpayer to want to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse in government?
Yeah, but not with Elon Musk. Yeah, not with the chainsaw. No.
Not with the chainsaw. So how should they do it then?
Do it with a method in mind, and yes, we all agree that there's waste.
Okay.
But not just go in there and just firing everybody and destroying our democracy.
Yeah, like he's taking a very private sector approach to this, right? If you had waste in your business, you would fire people. Oh, okay. Can we?
Government doesn't operate like business does.
Maybe it should.
Well, it just goes to show you how silly they can be. They're talking about waste. Obama knew about waste.
Look at the camera. The camera's right here. See this camera? Look in that camera.
Look at the camera. Right here.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
I'm looking right.
All right.
Oh, and I'm saying this, that it's kind of ridiculous that these people are talking about waste. Obama talked about waste. Everybody talks about it, but Trump's the man that's doing things about it. And that's what I think.
What do you think about the chainsaw comment?
I think it's totally ridiculous. He was just trying to show how you can cut costs. And he just makes something out of nothing.
Stupid. Look, he said, the other guy comes by, he said, look, maybe you shouldn't run, the government's not a business. Well, maybe it should be run like a business, you idiot. I mean, I don't understand what the whole thing is here. And why would you keep a job that was wasteful? Listen, if a plant is not blooming and it's sitting there and it's overgrown, what do? You prune it all the way back. You don't just let it grow and see what happens.
Yeah.
These people are retarded.
They really are. It's just not smart at all. And they don't even know what they're talking about. And they can't even finish it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That guy's an idiot.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate your
Let me know
deep
when you
insights.
hit the freaking button. When you hit the button, tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you saw. I thought you saw the red
I
light.
was talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Moving on. One of our favorite people on the scene today is a congresswoman from Dallas.
She is a wonderful intellect.
And her wisdom and knowledge of things surpasses anybody else in the Democrat Party.
Named after a great American hero.
David
Crockett, of course.
Davy Crockett.
And listen, if she's not going to be the next star of the Democrat Party, I don't know who is.
I don't either.
other than maybe AOC.
But she's so brilliant. She put immigration in perspective for all of
Absolutely.
us. Watch.
None of y'all farming.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right, right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
Raise your hand if you're farming. Raise your hand if you're farming. Ain't none of y'all farming. Does she know how many farmers we have in this country?
Not a clue. What
Jesus
the hell
Christ.
was that? I mean, nobody wants to work in America anymore, so we
No.
need to have immigrants so that our economy works. Who the hell is she talking about?
Drive through any part of rural America from Louisiana to Ohio.
It's pretty. There's a lot of. That's all you say.
And look on either side of the road and tell me what the hell's going on.
That's it. They're all farms. All right, and
They
we have had an immigration policy.
You know how I know they're all farms? Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. You know how I know they're all farms? Because any woman you drive across the country with, or anywhere in the country, whether it's your wife or your girlfriend or your niece or whoever, every time they see a cow on the side of the road, they feel the need to go, cow! Like you don't see it. I know the damn cow's there. I can see them. There's 50 of them out there.
That's true. That's
cow!
True. That's true.
We've seen a cow every mile for 20 miles now.
But anyways, what I'm saying is we have an immigration policy that we have green carded people to come in to do the crops that we don't have enough people to pick, and then they go home.
Right.
That's been, matter of fact, remember Chavez?
But the thing is,
the leader back in the 70s, he protested. He didn't even want these people to come in because he was taken from legal immigrants.
Right. Well, that's the problem, though. The problem is they there would be people to do all of these jobs. They just would have to pay a legitimate wage, which is what the Democrats bitch about all the time, right?
Right.
Living wage, living wage, living wage. Well, being a farmhand is actually something you can make a living on. The problem is they're paying next to nothing and getting almost slave labor. These people are living in terrible conditions. It's a terrible humanitarian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like to be like, it's a thing. It's it's here and there. But that's the whole problem with this. If you didn't have these people that would work for nothing taking the jobs from the citizens of the United States, there would absolutely be people to do them. And I don't know if she's noticed, but black people have not been forced to pick cotton in a very, very long time.
That's true.
Since you know who picks cotton? A white guy, and his name is John Deere Green. He picks cotton. There's nobody picking damn cotton.
That's it. That's it. It's been mechanized. And we live down south, and you drive through Alabama. Alabama's got huge cotton fields, and all you see is these big ass tractors picking cotton, and they're dumping it in the back in this big barrel. All you see is this dump truck full of white cotton that they drive it off to get it processed. It's quite sophisticated.
Is that an immigrant out there? Is that a black person?
It has
or a
to be
minority? No, that's an international harvester.
And so now the question comes up. It is a legitimate question. Who is the leader of the Democrat Party?
I think right now, I know many would say Chucky, old Chucky Schumer, but right now it's AOC. AOC is the boss.
And I think that's correct. Let's see what Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana had to say about this.
He's a good old boy, ain't he? Sure do like him.
First example, but not the only one. God created the world, but everything else is made in China. I mean, we know that. That just reflects reality today.
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. And our plan for dealing
you
with
didn't
her,
plan that out. We got to hurry.
Our plan for dealing with her is called Operation Let Her Speak.
That's priceless.
It's true though. Let her talk. Let her talk.
Let her talk. I think she every time she says something, all you have to do is go.
Quieting down Ocasio-Cortez, old AOC, would be like giving the Titanic an iceberg warning a few hours early. But just like the Titanic, she wouldn't listen.
She wouldn't listen. Boom. That's it. Anyways, I think we've probably all seen this, but I want to show this again. There was a piece that was on CNN. What's his name?
The guy.
Stuck
in.
Yeah, I know.
I
know.
Shit.
Interviewing
Anderson Cooper, the gayest guy around. And I mean, this fella is an outspoken homosexual.
No question about it.
And this chick has the nerve to get pissed off at him, and the liberals are calling him the bad guy.
You got to watch this and listen carefully.
We're back with Senator Bernie Sanders. I want to introduce Grace Thomas. She's a local civil rights attorney. She's a Democrat. Grace?
They, them pronouns, actually. Thank you.
Oh.
Good evening, Senator Sanders. Polling and turnout data indicate that men of all racial demographics are turning away from the Democratic Party.
This shit's got to stop.
Dude, they should have just gone on and said, somebody else. Give us anybody else. Give us somebody who's a normal person.
I mean, if they had any balls, they would have said, okay, thank you, taken the microphone and said, who's next? Because that shit.
And this was obviously a chick. This was obviously a chick.
Oh, this was a woman. This wasn't a trans person. This was a woman.
Right. Dress like a woman, act like a woman. First of all, Anderson Cooper, and I hate to defend Anderson Cooper, but he's got too much, he knows the English language too well to use a plural term on somebody who's a singular person. So he's not going to call they, them to a one person standing in the audience. Second of all, he is not, he's a little fruity fella. He is not 100% on, he's not an expert on women.
No,
you know what I mean? So he just, he could call out 7 different kind of guys, but he sees this chick in the audience and he's like, ma'am, very respectful. She is. Not even ma'am. She
is. Unbelievable. And I think I've had about enough of this.
But this is Anderson Cooper's own fault because for years he's not been able to define a woman.
That's true.
And now he has no idea.
That's
the problem.
We're going to close tonight with something that validates, kind of like bring receipts of what we've been saying. And it's validated by 2 very liberal celebrities.
And listen, these were the 2 most liberal. In fact, I would venture to say the spread of liberalism was ramrodded by both of these guys almost equally.
Yep.
Bill Maher with Politically Incorrect,
right,
and then Jon Stewart with The Daily Show,
right.
And if they can see it, and you can't, you have some sort of a mental drag or a disability. You should get yourself checked. We care about you at the Charlie and Larry Show. Oh, wait, the Larry and Charlie? I like it better my way.
He likes it better.
Anyway,
he's been fighting for that
care
now for
about
a year
you.
and a half.
It's just good billing.
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week.
Wait, where's the... yeah, it is.
Republicans are playing chess, and the Democrats are in the nurse's office because they glued their balls to their thigh.
Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded.
Apparently the grand plan is Dems keep fecklessly complaining until the 48 approval comes down to 40.
Well, someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place.
You're at 27%. You've got to get Trump to lose 8 points of popularity just for you to get to the point where you're 13 points below him. Your approval is only 7 points above where it turns red and goes into low power mode.
You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers union education party and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
Maybe you're not a numbers learner. Maybe a visual demonstration for you here. Let me meet you where you live. All right, here we go. This is 48% approval. This is them. This is you. This is you. 27%. This is them. Oh, I see. They're much higher. Yes, they're much higher. And if you keep this up, you'll be wearing these on your dick. Do you understand?